Hi guys, so I welcome you all to day 31 of Anthropology lecture series. So today we are covering part 3 of marriage. We have already done part 1 and 2. Please go watch those videos first because it is important for your understanding, and after that come back and watch this video if you have not. And today we are going to complete the chapter. Tomorrow again we are going to start with a very interesting topic. So please stay tuned. So yeah, let's start our first topic today, that is incest taboo and theories explaining it. So now basically what is an incest? Incest is when it's a sexual relationship between closed kins. Closed kins would be like brother, sister, father, daughter, or mother, son, like that, or any other close relatives, right? So basically in like 80 to 90% of the societies, incest is a taboo. That means nobody practices incest, more than that also almost all the societies have a taboo. But now you need to understand why this taboo came in, how this thing evolved, right? Because when we talk about marriage, it's important because in a marriage it is mostly how you are going to choose a partner for yourself. And incest, it is not about a partner but a sexual partner, that means whom you're going to mate with. So somewhere down the line, incest also plays a role in acquiring a mate, right? It is not directly related to the marriage, but it is related to somewhere down the line where when it is concerned with the sexual mating or like that, right? So it affects selection of the mate. In primitive societies, it is associated with natural fear. That means any society, be it the modern ones or the primitive one, practice incest taboo. We have talked about this. But in primitive societies, this idea of incest taboo comes with certain superstitions, or you can say natural fear. It is not logical. In the modern societies, like today's societies, it is more based on scientific studies and logical grounds, right? The kind of genetic diseases you might get if you uh, indulge into sexual relationship with your closed ones, right? So it is based on that. It is not based on any fear or superstition. But in primitive societies, it is associated with fear, right? And civilized societies on the basis of, on the grounds of morality, then scientific knowledge and all of that. But there are exceptions to it also. Exceptions like the royal families of Hawaii in Kuan, or the Egyptian pharaoh Cleopatra is an example. So all these are exceptions. Then you have like Kachins of Burma, where it's adulterous to mother son relationship is adulterous, but father daughter relationship is considered to be incest, right? So all these different kind of arrangements you will find different places. But now important thing is to understand why incest taboo at the first place must have come in, like if they are primitive, if they do not understand morality or they do not understand the scientific basis of it, then why it came? So we can say that it has to do something with our animal instinct also, because if we talk about chimpanzees instinct, right? Yeah, if we talk about chimps, right, even they do not practice incest. That means it could be something which we as humans have inherited from our non hominid ancestors, ये भी हो सकता है. And then there are a lot of other theories that explain the incest taboo. The first one is childhood familiarity theory by Edward Westermarck. So basically this theory says that if two people know each other from their childhood, the sexual feelings do not come, and then they are not people who can be sexually engaged with each other. So this is what the theory says. So now studies were done by different people, you know uh, proving this theory to be right. For example, kibbutz, this is a Israeli community, and it was studied by Yanina Talmon. So now in kibbutz, that is Israel, it's a commune kind of a place. Commune means where people live together. It's commune, like a community you can say. So they live together Israel mein, right? They live together. The children in a dormitory. They are parents live separately, and the children are reared up in the communes, right, together. So they play together, they eat together, they study together, whatever they do together. So with that they kind of uh, get over familiar with each other, due to which they never indulge in a sexual relationship with each other. This is what this theory believes. Okay, then comes the second part, is that is Tang Yang Hasi Hai, whatever it is said, by Arthur Wolf. This is a Taiwanese tradition where Taiwanese daughter-in-law is daughter-in-law is lives with the family, right? So basically whatever daughter-in-law they choose that they will have, they do not marry her in the early age. She just lives with the family, right? So it is seen in those families where this kind of kind of Taiwanese tradition exists. Divorces are very common, because उसका reason भी यही दिया गया कि childhood familiarity. The people who are over familiar with each other, एक point के बाद वो sexual disinterest, disliking they start experiencing that, and because of that they then take divorces और उनकी marriages नहीं चलते. So in that Israeli commune also, they hardly marry within the commune. That means girls and boys do not marry from within the communes. If they have to marry, they will marry somebody who is outside of their commune. That means somewhere down the line they do not have sexual feeling for people who they have lived all through their lives with, right? Then Hilda and Seymour studied fathers sexually exploiting their daughters. Now this study which was done by this Hilda and Seymour, they believe that if there are any cases of sexual harassment by father with a daughter, it will be only in those cases where the father has not lived with the daughter. That means where fathers were away from the family, right? So only in those cases it is been seen. But now this whole theory can be criticized on the ground that अगर इतना ही है, that means कि if people are living together and they can never sexually get intimate, that means तो फिर why do we need a taboo like that? That means ऐसा कुछ होना ही नहीं चाहिए, because why prohibit when there is no interest, right? If people will not get interested into each other, तो फिर ऐसा taboo बनाने की ज़रूरत क्यों पड़ी? That means somewhere down the line incest was happening. That is the reason हमको ज़रूरत पड़ी ना. That means इस parameter पे this theory could not explain itself correctly. Then the second thing is why incest doesn't apply on first cousin marriages, because ठीक है, close related kins we are talking about, that in them the marriages is not allowed, but first cousins are also very close, right? So why incest doesn't apply to that? Then absolute intimacy over time. It is believed that, for example, after 20 years or 15 years after the marriage, there will be intimacy. That means people are going to live together, there will be over familiarity, right? They are eventually going to be very very close to each other. So what if then the dislike comes in, right? Because the whole theory is based on the fact that when people live together, there is over intimacy, there is over they know each other more, so they then do not have sexual interest in each other. So after a marriage, in 15 years 20 years of marriage, it is going to happen. Then why does the marriages last only? Okay, so this was the first theory that explains incest, and that's the criticism for the theory, right? Second was Sigmund Freud's psychoanalytic theory. So now he is given different concepts like Oedipus complex, right? And then he has given basically, it's called psychoanalytic because it's psychological, psychological, that is, it is something to do with the mindset or brain, right? So basically what Sigmund Freud believed, that there is a natural liking or a natural bond between mother and a son, father and the daughter. अभी आप father and daughter को रहने दो, let's talk about mother son, right? So basically what Sigmund Freud believes, that there is always an attraction of the child, that is the son, towards having his mother. But the point is, these feelings are curbed when there is another male member, elder male member in the family, that is the father. So these feelings are curbed by the son, right? So in order to so that there is no sexual tension and competition in the family, the son buries those thoughts inside his head. This is what Sigmund Freud believes, right? So this is the theory, and criticism yahi hoga ki what if the family, there are families also where there is no father, so why don't they indulge in incest, right? So this can be a criticism for this. Then comes the Malinowski's family disruption theory. Family disruption theory basically says that we had talked that to survive, man needed to cooperate with each other, they needed to be together, right? To create an institution which was more group based, right? So when groups started coming in, the concept of family came in, right? So now if the family had to work in a cooperative manner, in a manner which was like successful to survive in those environments, there was some rules required so that there is no sexual competition within the family. So incest was one such rule. Ki incest, agar if there is no incest, there will be no competition among the family, so then they can cooperate and families would not disrupt, that means they will not disintegrate, right? This was Malinowski's theory. Then comes the family cooperation theory by Taylor White, and it was then elaborated by White and Levi-Strauss, right? Family cooperation theory. Basically family cooperation theory bolti thi that there was a option that either you get killed by other groups or you remain together solid, like if this is like a family of like 1 2 3 4 7 people, if you disintegrate, then other groups are going to be a competition to you, they are going to fight with you, they are going to, because you are already competing, right, for resources, for which is said the survival of the fittest, kelo, intra-species struggle, interspecies struggle. So there is struggle against environment, there is struggle against the species that you are living with, so they are going to eliminate you, right? So if you do not want to get eliminated, there is a need to cooperate together, and this cooperation theory was like ki incest was again a rule ki so that families cooperate to each other, they acquire mates from outside, they enlarge their groups, right? So if they marry within themselves, there will be no strength nahi banegi, there will be no strength for the group, right? So if you have to gain strength, then you will have to marry somebody from the outside, so that groups also cooperate with you, and so on, you go on building your bigger groups, right? So that was family cooperation theory ki incest nahi hoga, you will mate outside, you will marry outside, you will make your group stronger by adding people to your group, right? So that was family cooperation theory. And another theory is the inbreeding theory. Now this is a modern theory, you can say. In modern times, we believe that there are so many demerits of inbreeding. Inbreeding means breeding amongst the group, right? So when there is inbreeding, there is chance of genetic disorders, right? So there are chances of genetic disorders, right? Many tribes which perform inbreeding or they do these consanguineous marriages, there is the problem of genetic disorders like sickle cell, and there are many more. So then this in modern, it was challenged on the scientific grounds, but it is seen that in primitive people also, like a study was done by Raymond Firth, right? It was done on the Ticopias of South Pacific. They when he studied this Ticopia of South Pacific, he saw that there was a concept of Mara. Mara was basically that they believed that there will be illness, there will be some kind of sickness, there will be some kind of calamity that will happen if they will mate within the group. That means they believed, though it was superstitious, but some kind of, because they must have seen na, if they were mating within the group, they must have been seeing certain kind of diseases which they were not able to define on a very medical ground or a scientific ground. So they gave it a concept called Mara. That means they'll, any time if any inbreeding happens, there will be sickness, there will be illness, there will be some calamity that will happen. So it is seen, whether it is modern societies, whether it is primitive societies, the concept of incest taboo has been there, and it has to do something with our animal instinct also, because chimps also do not inbreed within the group. So but all in all, we can say that none of the theories were able to fully explain why is incest a taboo, because every place there was some incomplete thing, right? So हम बोल सकते हैं, if we take all the reasons together, maybe it will make for a good theory for why there is an incest taboo, but none of the theory in itself was completely able to justify, right? So now we go on to the next topic, and this is the last topic for the day: different ways of acquiring mate in primitive societies. This was a study done by Majumdar, so you must remember. Now basically क्या होता है, acquiring mate means just how you're going to get a partner. For example, today we do love marriage, or it could be arranged marriage. So this is the only two ways that you can acquire mate in today's time, right? In the modern societies, complex societies I'm talking about. But there are a lot of interesting and amusing ways of how tribals and primitive people acquire mates. So let's study about that. First is probationary marriage. In this, what happens, the boy goes and lives with the girl's family, right? And if they like each other, they will live together, and it's more like today's live-in kind of a concept, but in the parents' house. So they go, they live together, they do the courtship. If they like each other, then they marry, and it is called Razi Khushi marriage, because then they know each other better, they know each other's habits, all of that, right? So this kind of marriage is done in Kuki tribe of Naga, and many tribes in Chota Nagpur also follow this kind of a way of acquiring the mate. Second is marriage by capture. In this, they go and capture the girl. This is mostly done to avoid the bride price. For example, if the bride price is very high, right, and the boy is unable to pay for the bride, right, to the bride's family, so then what will they do? They will just go and capture the girl. Sometimes these captures are as a part of their tradition only. They are arranged also in festivals, in markets, whatever they have, right? So in those festivals, these captures are arranged also by the families, and then they do the customary fighting, that you've acquired, you've captured a girl, all of that. So all these things happen. So it's this kind of arrangement is there in Birhors, the Khariya, Nagas, all these groups. Then comes marriage by trial. This is again a very interesting kind of way of acquiring mate, because this is done by Bhils. First of all, the Bhils of Madhya Pradesh. In this, the boys have to prove their valor, like so what happens is, on festival days like Holi, you just suppose Holi. So what will happen, there will be certain arrangements in the market, in the village only. What they will do, for example, there is a good and coconut. So they will put up good and coconut on a pole, and then the all the spinsters, the girls, will make a round this is the pole, and the girls will make a round and stand here. So now the boys are out in this circle. They all try to go and take and try to eat this good and coconut. So whichever boy who goes and eat that good and coconut will be able to choose the girl, whatever girl he likes. So this is the way they do it, right? So bheels इसमें example है. Then marriage by purchase, simple है. Marriage by purchase is by paying the bride price. So it is seen that in many places it is seen as a status symbol also. The person who gives more bride price, so he can acquire a good girl. So over the time the bride price has also increased because of bride price being a status symbol. And this kind of marriages are done in Juangs, Ringma Nagas, then Tivs of Nigeria, right? You just try to remember one example of every. ठीक है? Bride price is opposite of dowry. In dowry, the female's family gives groom's family money or assets or whatever, right? In bride price, the price is paid to the bride's family because they lose economic hands, and then they lose the girl. So bride price is to compensate their loss, right? So bride price, marriage by purchase is when the boy gives bride price. Then comes marriage by service. Sometimes in many groups like Gonds, Baigas, Bheels, right, Birhors, any group that follows bride price, they are unable to pay bride price because of poverty or not being so economically stable. So what they do is they serve their bride's family. So what the boy does, he goes and lives with the family of the girl, and it serves like help only, जैसे modern day में help होते हैं ना families में, वैसे. या फिर the father-in-law will give money to this groom, and he will pay back in installments. So this is how the marriage by service happens. Okay, so in Bheels they have to serve 7 years to the father-in-law and his family, like that. And Birhors, Baigas 2-3 years, so like that it differs. Then marriage by exchange. Marriage by exchange, we had talked about this yesterday also. It is also called Doodh Lotawa in many tribes in India, because what happens is in one generation, for example, this is a group, right? Let me just make it yeah, just imagine that they were brother and sister and brother, right? So now they have a okay, so yeah, they have a boy and they have a girl. So now they will get married. In this generation, this family has given bride to this is a bride, right? This is a female, right? And in the next generation, now they have given the bride, and now in this they will take the bride, right? Oh sorry, I have made it wrong, sorry, I'm so sorry. In this they have, I'm sorry, this is like that is, yeah. So now in this generation they have given the bride, so in this generation they will give the bride, right? They will marry and they will give the bride. So in one generation, one group will give the bride, they will become the wife receiver, and the other generation they will become wife giver, right? So this is marriage by exchange, or it could happen in the same generation also. It's not like it has to happen in the next generation only. It can happen in the same generation also, it can happen in the next generation also. This is just a way I am telling you that marriage by exchange happens. Then is marriage by elopement. Elopement is when two people elope, run away means. So basically इसको उड़रा उड़ली चोलकी भी बोलते हैं. Then what happens is, basically if the boys and girls live together or go on a vacation, dormitory, wherever they live together, so sometimes they fall in love, and if the family is not agreeing to their marriage, they run away. Sometimes they come back to the village also, and they are later received, and many a times it is done to avoid the bride price also, because parents are not agreeing, because bride price is a lot, so then they elope, right? So this also happens. Then marriage by intrusion. This is a very interesting kind of a thing that I also studied. So basically in marriage by intrusion, what happens is the female thrusts herself onto the groom's family. So now imagine this is a girl and this is a family, this is the prospective groom. She likes this guy, right? So now what she does is she forcefully comes and lives with this family and thrusts herself upon to this family, and now she will be open to a lot of humiliation, criticism, physical abuse also, right? Then physical abuse, mental harassment, all of that. But if she bears all of that and lives with the family, she is then accepted by the family. So this kind of marriage takes place in Juangs, Koans, Bhuiyas, so all of these, right? And last is marriage by mutual consent. Marriage by mutual consent is very easy. Now tribals have also started to do it, because when they have come in contact with the modern society, the complex societies of today, they have seen that how, the concept of arranged marriage, like both parties would meet and then they will discuss everything and then they will marry the girl and boy. So that is marriage by mutual consent also. And then today though this kind of marriage exists, right? So this was all about the topic marriage. I hope you liked the lecture. Please do like, share and subscribe, guys. Tomorrow we are going to start with the next chapter, and any suggestions please post in the comment section below. Thank you.